She was lying there, weak, frightened, and barely able to move. But what broke the rescuers' hearts wasn't just her condition. It was what they discovered beside her. She wasn't alone. She was a mother, and somewhere nearby were tiny kittens who were depending on her to survive. She had almost nothing left, but she was still fighting, not for herself, for them. When the rescuers arrived, they knew they couldn't waste any time. The mother cat was exhausted, and the kittens were incredibly vulnerable. There was no warm bed, no safe shelter, and no one to protect them. Just a mother desperately trying to survive long enough to protect her babies. The rescuers carefully gathered them and prepared to take them somewhere safe. Every second mattered, because for animals this small and fragile, something as simple as hunger, infection, dehydration, or exposure can become life-threatening very quickly. And this little family had already been through enough. The smallest kittens were carefully wrapped and protected. The mother was handled gently because she was clearly in pain and extremely weak. Then came the journey to the veterinary clinic. For the rescuers, it may have looked like another emergency rescue, but for this family, it was the beginning of a second chance. At the clinic, the medical team immediately began examining the cats. The mother needed help. Her body was exhausted. She needed treatment, fluids, medication, nutrition, and most importantly, time. The kind of time she had never been given before. Instead of being left outside to suffer, she was finally lying somewhere warm and safe. Someone was finally taking care of her. As the treatment continued, the rescuers stayed close. They carefully monitored her condition. They cleaned her. They treated her injuries. They made sure she received the care she needed. And slowly, something began to change. She wasn't fighting alone anymore. Then came one of the most important moments. Food. After everything she had been through, she needed nourishment to rebuild her strength. But she couldn't simply eat normally. She needed careful feeding and constant attention. The rescuers patiently helped her take in small amounts, and every tiny bite mattered, because that food wasn't just giving her energy. It was giving her another chance to be a mother. Nearby, her kittens were also being cared for. They were tiny, fragile, and completely dependent on humans for the moment. They needed warmth, they needed nutrition, they needed protection, and they needed someone to believe they could make it. The rescuers gave them all three. Days passed. The mother slowly became more alert. Her eyes began to look different. There was still weakness, but there was also something else. Hope. She was beginning to understand that she was safe, that no one was going to hurt her, that food would come, that warmth would remain, and that her babies were still beside her. Then came another beautiful moment. The mother began eating more willingly. She was no longer simply trying to survive 1 minute at a time. She was recovering, and every meal was bringing her closer to the life she deserved. Her kittens were growing stronger too. They could move more, they could explore, they could rest peacefully, and for the first time, they didn't have to worry about where their next meal would come from. They had a warm bed, they had medical care, and most importantly, they had each other. Look closely at the mother now. Just days earlier, she was fighting for her life. Now she is lying peacefully beside her babies, still tired, still recovering, but alive. And that alone is something worth celebrating. Because sometimes, a rescue doesn't begin with a miracle. It begins with someone simply refusing to walk away. Someone saw an animal in pain and decided that her life mattered. Someone picked her up. Someone carried her to safety. Someone cleaned her wounds. Someone fed her. Someone stayed. And because of those simple acts of kindness, an entire little family got another chance. The mother cat may never understand why these people helped her. She may never understand the needles, the medicine, the blankets, or the food. But she understands one thing. She is safe, and her babies are safe. That is enough. There are millions of animals around the world waiting for someone to notice them. Some are hungry, some are injured, some are abandoned, and some are mothers quietly suffering while trying to protect their babies. They don't have a voice that humans can easily understand, but they feel fear, they feel pain, and they feel love, just like this mother did. Her story reminds us of something incredibly simple. You don't always need to save the whole world. Sometimes, you just need to save one life, one animal, one helpless kitten, one frightened mother. Because to that animal, you aren't saving just a cat. you are saving their entire world. And maybe that's what makes this rescue so beautiful. She didn't survive because she was strong enough to do it alone. She survived because someone finally gave her the help she had been waiting for. And now, instead of struggling to survive, she gets to rest. Instead of searching for food, she gets to eat. Instead of protecting her babies from danger, she gets to watch them grow. And instead of wondering whether tomorrow will come, she finally gets to have one. The kittens still have a long journey ahead, but now they have something they didn't have before: a chance, a safe place, and a mother who is still here. Sometimes that's all a broken life needs: a little kindness, a little patience, and one person willing to say, "You're not alone anymore." So the next time you see an injured or abandoned animal, don't assume someone else will help. If it's safe to do so, contact a local animal rescue organization or veterinarian, because you may never know how important that one decision could become. For this little family, someone cared, someone stopped, and because they did, a mother and her babies are still here today, alive, safe, and together. And honestly, what could be more beautiful than that? For the first time in a long time, this little family didn't have to worry about surviving the next few hours. But their journey was far from over. The mother cat was getting stronger every day, yet she still watched her kittens with the same worried eyes. She would look at them, check on them, and stay close, as if she was afraid that everything could disappear again. But this time, she didn't have to protect them alone. The rescuers continued giving her food, medicine, warmth, and plenty of rest. Slowly, her body began to recover. She started walking around more confidently, eating on her own, and showing a little bit of her old personality again. And then something beautiful happened. Her kittens began following her, tiny little paws moving behind their mother, exploring their new safe world one step at a time. Every day, they became a little stronger. Every day, the mother became a little happier. There was still a long road ahead, but the fear in her eyes was slowly being replaced by trust. She had learned that human hands could hurt, but now she was learning that human hands could also heal. One evening, the mother curled up beside her kittens and simply rested. No searching for food, no hiding from danger, no struggling through the night, just peace. And perhaps she didn't understand what had changed, but she knew one thing: her babies were safe. Sometimes we forget how powerful a second chance can be. To us, a warm blanket, a bowl of food, or a safe room may seem like small things, but to an animal that has known hunger, fear, and loneliness, those little things can mean everything. This family still had a future to build. The kittens would eventually grow up. They would learn to explore. They would become stronger. And hopefully, each of them would find a loving, forever home. But none of that would have been possible if someone had simply walked away. One person stopped. One person cared. And that small act changed for little lives forever. So if you ever see an animal that looks helpless, remember this story. You may not be able to save every animal, but you might be able to save one. And sometimes saving one life is enough to change an entire world. For this mother cat, the world had once been a place of fear. Now, it was finally a place where she could close her eyes, hold her babies close, and sleep without being afraid of tomorrow. And maybe that is what rescue is really about. Not just saving an animal from death, but giving them a reason to believe in life again.